Hi, guys. Welcome to the TOWTalk Podcast. Hopefully, let me see. Let me get over to our chat screen, see who's here with us. See if we got some people there. It's just starting to load. This will take a moment or so to get there. Let me see. Where are we? All right. There, there we go. All right, folks. Hi, everybody. Welcome. It is Taco Tuesday, guys. Happy Taco Tuesday to all of our happy people that are here with us, all of our fans, if we have any. Whole two of you, whatever. But yeah. So good news. We're the nuclear annihilation is not upon us for 2 more weeks, when we haven't heard that before. So yeah, that's a good thing. But anyway, today is Tuesday, April 7th, and this is our live stream. I just got back 15 minutes ago from the town's Spill the Tea event. So there, Supervisor Frank DenDanto has been conducting these Spill the Tea sessions. It's basically just a sit-down chat. People are invited to come in. They put coffee and treats out, and he gives you an update on what's going on with the town. There was a lot.
What's the hot topic?
I think the biggest topic of all was the annual cleanup day. That's when they send around the trucks you clean your house out, you drop all your garbage in front of the house, people come around and pick through and take stuff, and then and then they have the trucks come around. And so there has been a concern, which if you watched my interview from back about a week and a half ago with Frank, there was a shortfall in the budget with what the previous administration did their budget, and then they under budgeted a lot of stuff, which one of those problems is with the pickup. So last year he said that they spent $125,000 for the bulk pickup, which was done last spring. I guess that was for all 4 wards. Well, when they did the budget in October, when they do the annual upcoming budget for 2026, they only budgeted in $115,000. So you got to figure it's going to be the same, if not more, and then factor in the fact that gas prices are now $1 more a gallon, at least $1. No, actually more, because they run on, those vehicles are probably running on diesel. So you got to factor in that the cost is going to be elevated because it's going to cost more for those trucks to come around. So he held he kind of talked about that and talked about the logistics with that, and he asked the audience, he's like, what do you think? Do you want to have cleanup? Do you not want to have cleanup? He took a vote. About 60% of the room was in favor of the cleanup, but it also got got a conversation going about things that we can do to maybe offset the costs. And so there was talks about, well, could we have sort of like a single pickup point, and we bring our trash to that point. And he said it actually costs more because those bins that hold the garbage cost a lot to rent. So it's actually less expensive to come around and pick up the garbage. Then it was pointed out. So for those of us who might be watching from outside the town of Wallkill, maybe you live in the city of Middletown, maybe you're from another state or from a more populated area where your taxes pay for garbage collection. That's not the case here in the town of Wallkill. We pay separately for different companies to come out and pick up our garbage. Well, County Waste and a couple of the other ones that cover the area, they actually include a bulk pickup item. Some it's once a week, some it's once a month. This was sort of confusion, but you should check if you live in the town of Wallkill. Check with your company to see what their policy is on picking up a bulk item, how often they do it, and take advantage of that. Because you're already paying for that service, it's already included, so you might as well take advantage of it. You can be doing cleanup all year long. Now, they're not going to take like a pile of old wood or something, but they might take an old refrigerator, or they might take, some large bulky item that wouldn't fit in the garbage. So you could do that. So that was an option. Then one person in the audience brought up the fact that when we put our items out for bulk pickup, that does have people that come around and they pick through the items to see if there's anything of value, or they take any of the metal that they can bring into the salvager and they can get paid for that. And so in a way, you're sort of doing sort of a swap thing. So people thought that, why don't we do that? Why don't we have either a block garage sale or a swap type of thing where you kind of bring your stuff and other people bring their stuff, and you can sort of see, stuff that might be salvageable and someone could use, old tables, old chairs, things like that. Someone could use that. Another option that wasn't even brought up, but I'll bring it up here, donation. So let's say you have an old kitchen set you don't want to use, you're going to just throw it out if it's repairable or if it's workable, especially in these times when people, you know what I'm saying, Neil? In this times when people are possibly losing homes or losing furniture, you could donate that. So that's kind of what we talked. I would say that was the number one topic, but a number of other things came up. They talked about some events coming up. I think on the 25th, they're having an Earth Day celebration. There's a Touch the Truck event. I didn't get the date on that. They're going to be celebrating Juneteenth in June. They're going to have an event right there at the town. So I will get those flyers. I asked them to email me the flyers so I can just kind of post them up here when we're on the podcast. So Neil, how are you doing? What's going on?
No, it's all good. Listen, I think we've had this discussion many times. People in America, whether you live in the town of Wallkill, you live in the city of Middletown, you pay a lot of taxes, and part of, it's not like you're getting a lot back, that you could see, right, from the federal government or the state government. I mean, they do a lot of stuff, but it's all behind the scenes, right? Your town, your local municipality is where you see a lot of the benefit. But what most people don't understand is that's all property taxes. There's very little other taxes that get included in that.
Right.
So, the idea of cutting services and having to pay more taxes, it's a really tough pill for people to swallow. And, the idea is it's easy to blame the guy who's currently in office. But here's the thing. The public was warned. They were warned for many, many years that there was a problem. Okay? And they ignored the warning. Non-financial people came out and said, we don't have a problem. And, this is what ends up happening. So now what the public has to come to grips with is that they're going to have to sacrifice a little to get the town on the right footing. And I would like to see that. Personally, if you have an idea, pass it over. Instead of, saying, what's in it for me? Look at your town and say, what can I do to help?
Right.
I can go 1 year without bulk pickup. I'm fine with doing the either storing it in my garage and doing it again next year, or doing, as you said, and calling up the garbage company and doing my once a month, bulk pickup. Okay, item. There are other things that we can do in the town. As you said, a swap. We can do what Middletown does, and they do a town-wide garage sale.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think that's a cool idea.
where the city of Middletown actually posts where all the garage sales are, and you can get a map, and you can go to all the garage sales if you want. So I think that's something we all need to now, like, we all need to now be participants in our government.
Yes.
We all and so I think this is sort of that first step of, you know what, the electorate screwed up, right? They elected people who didn't have their interests at heart, and therefore now they are going to have to pay a little bit to get things righted. End of story. And you know, they're just gonna have to suck it up.
Right.
You know, we see this on the national level.
Yes.
You know, without a doubt, we're seeing this on the national level right now, and we're seeing it on the state level. And we saw it in New York City as Mamdani was like, you know, we're $4 billion in the hole. We're seeing this in municipalities all across the United States right now, that budgets are upside down because they've borrowed, and they've borrowed against future earnings. They borrowed against future earnings in order to keep taxes low. And now all of a sudden, you know, they're not getting funds anymore. There are no grants. There's no nothing coming in. And now all of a sudden, you know, everybody has to pay the price in order to keep the services. So you have to make a decision: cut the services or pay the price. Pay
And
the
then
taxes.
another option is to try and gain some revenue. He talked about, and he talked about here on the podcast as well, his vision for the future. And his vision is looking 40 years down the road. He wants to see about converting the pyramid property into like a convention center. That it could bring more revenue, it could bring more sales tax to the area, it could bring more tourism. So he understands that. He talked about Pyramid is looking for, I guess they're looking for an outlet, something they can do with the property, because, you know, stores are leaving. People just aren't shopping in malls anymore like they did when we were kids. So, you know, maybe turning that property into something that could generate revenue is an option. He did bring up the warehouses as well, because people are like kind of sick of these damn warehouses and seriously. He mentioned there's a property off of 116, exit 116, that Walmart is now come back. Yeah, I guess you would know what that property is. I guess they've owned it for 20 years. Was there a plan there? What were they looking to do with that property? Was that an original?
The plan was to ensure it didn't get sold. That was always the plan. Make sure it didn't get sold.
But what do they want to do? Was it for another Walmart? I mean, it's so close to this one.
They bought the property way back in the day, or whatever happened, and they've owned that property forever. And I think at one point in time there was a plan to maybe do a distribution center there, like a Amazon type distribution center, but for Walmart. And then they just decided not to do it. And they've just sort of held on to the property.
Well, it seems that they've been starting to talk to the town. He said that they've come back into the picture, so there may be something that they're looking to do with that property. And so he said that's if it does get developed, then it becomes another revenue generating property. So that's some thoughts. So that's where we are.
Increase your ratables.
Yes. Also, I spoke directly to Frank at the end, and I mentioned that there was a request to have him back. So he said whenever. So it looks like we usually do a lot of our recordings on Sundays. So we'll probably have Frank pop on maybe now twice a month to hop on and sort of do this kind of spill the tea thing. If you didn't get to see it live, he can still go over a lot of those things to a more broader audience. with us here on TOWTalk, and also apparently he's looking to start his own platform. He's leaving it up to his wife, and and so we're here to help. If you got any questions, don't worry. I've done this. So this is we're kind of a low budget here, but we get things going. It's a really low budget, so. Sort of in the negative, but anyway, but yeah, that's we're here to help if you got questions. But we could see Frank also having his own platform. So the biggest, if there's anything to be derived from his whole administration in just these first few months that he's been at this, is that he's been very transparent. He's been very much in front of the public, and he's made an effort to communicate everything that's going on, especially with the biggest topic of all, the finances. And he did point to the fact that previous administrations just sort of kind of let things slide, and that's why we're where we are today. So I think that's good. I think we're going in the right direction, and I think getting Frank on here more often to speak to our audience is gonna really help to answer a lot of questions that a lot of people might have. What do you think, Neil?
Yeah, listen, let's bring them on, and if anybody in the public has questions or concerns, email them over to us, or message us, hit our DMs, and we would love to hear from you.
Yes.
We will more than ask them any question that anybody has. So we open that up to the public. We do not shy away from asking questions. So as I know other people have done in the past, we do not do that. We will ask tough questions. We address tough issues here.
Yeah. So first of all, before we move on, does anybody have any questions right here and now that, or maybe you were there and watched us?
As I said, one of the other things that Denise and I have spoken about is the idea of we would love to see debates.
Yes.
In this community, right? We would love to see debates, whether you're running for town council, whether you're running for town supervisor, whether it be here in the town of Wallkill or even outside the town of Wallkill in Orange County somewhere. We would love to host your debate and be moderators of your debate in that instance. I know a lot of people, say I lean left. We would be happy. You can choose somebody to lean right, and Denise can moderate the middle.
Just make sure your 2 minutes are up, damn it. Right. So stop talking.
And we can go from there. And, listen, I think it would be great to have more debates in this community. I think more people need to talk about issues. So yeah, please come on and join us and reach out to us.
Yeah. So, moving right along, today was, I don't know, supposed to be D-Day or whatever, Bridges and Energy Day. But I hear that at the last minute here, he tacoed out as predicted.
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. Yeah, it's funny because I put that in the title of when I made this, when I put this on the schedule, and I put a question mark. I'm like, is he gonna taco? Thankfully, he did. I'm sure everybody watching this saw that just horrific post. I'm not even going to post it up here that he did on Sunday morning. I'm curious. Do you have any thoughts? Anybody here have any thoughts? What did you think about that? Did you support that post, or did you think it was like the craziest thing you ever saw from a president make that kind of a threat with that kind of an attitude? For me, it was just, well, a lot of people were shocked. For me, if it was at any other time, if it was any other president, I would have been like, holy fuck, what the hell? From him, it's kind of on brand. And, it's kind of on brand. You kind of expect this. And he's it is disturbing that we're in the midst of this war. This president was planning to drop God knows what. Thank God it hasn't happened, and let's hope it never does. Civilization ending, threatening to end civilization. That was this morning's post in Iran. And nobody is in the White House to, like, I don't know, 25th Amendment this guy. I'm hearing we should do 25th Amendment. Really, it should be impeached, but 25th Amendment is, we should do both. 25th Amendment, get some control of this guy, and then once he's out of there, work on the impeachment and get him completely gone. We got some posts here. I always set my camera up, blocking my view of the camera.
Oh, Marty. Yeah. Oh, Marty, if you believe that. Marty had said, according to the news, Iran has agreed to a 2-week ceasefire and accepted the demand that the straits be reopened. I will believe it when I see it.
Yeah, no, that means come by tomorrow morning, we'll be bombing something. Because we were also
listen. The issue is where is the information coming from? Okay, I beg people. I really beg people. Stop listening to U.S. media.
Yes.
Okay, just altogether.
Except us.
Listening to U.S. media. Okay. You are being bombarded by propaganda like 100% of the time. And what the reality that's happening in the rest of the world as panic is setting in everywhere. Okay. You're seeing that in prices. You're seeing that in gas. You're seeing that in goods and services. Like, you're seeing that in your electric bills. Oh my God, people. Like, how much of this can you take? I mean, we went from like Sleepy Joe to this high octane, every minute of every day has to be consumed with this one individual. And he just sits in the Oval Office and he's like, pay attention to me, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. I mean, this is childish.
Yes.
This is childish. And we are honestly looking, we're looking like fools. Everywhere.
Yes.
Enough.
It really is. And he did a press conference yesterday. I think it was yesterday, or maybe it was it was yesterday, where he was telling people that, the Iranians are begging us to come bomb them. Please bomb us. Like, nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that. But what I did hear today, I heard that Iranians did a chain of people across the bridges. Like, if you're going to bomb us, you're going to take us with you.
It wasn't just the bridges. They surrounded every one of their power plants, their desalinization plants. They surrounded every bit of infrastructure that they had. And they don't want to be bombed, right? Like, they just don't. No civilization in the world wants to be bombed. Okay?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. You don't bring freedom at the end of a gun. You just don't. I'm sorry. I know that you have these Second Amendment people out there, these 2A people are out there, right, who think that you get freedom at the end of a gun, and you don't get freedom at the end of a gun.
You get tyranny.
You just don't. It just doesn't happen. That's movies, right? I mean, like, you're living in a Hollywood dream right now.
Well, what? I want to kind of talk about that because of the theater surrounding everything here, particularly with regard to the rescue of the second co-pilot that was. Sorry, I'm getting texted about. Is this like new news? Oh, never mind. Okay. was from my mother. Anyway, Mom, if you're watching, type into the chat here. Don't send me a text. Chat here. What's Now I lost my train of thought here. Oh, it was how they sort of over dramatized. There were 155 planes and hundreds of people all came in to save this one person because we don't leave this one person behind or whatever. And then, a friend of mine posted an image, and I'll have to find it. If I find it, I'll post it up here, where they had the pilot who was being sort of helped up and walked along, and he had two soldiers sort of holding him up. Except one of those soldiers, and she was like, "See how we help our people." And I'm looking on his left arm was an Iranian flag and the IRGC logo on his left arm. And so, I don't know. You can't know. Is it AI? Is it not real? Did this 155 planes actually happen? I understand several planes were involved because they got hit.
But I see that's where I want to take a pause.
Yeah.
Okay. Right? Because you originally started it with a plane went down and it was a search and rescue, right? World News is not reporting that. World News is reporting something completely different. Okay? So that's what bothers me, right? You don't know what you're hearing. Okay?
Right.
You don't know if it's propaganda that's being put out, right? Or if it's real. And I listen, I don't want to report false news. I don't really want to talk about stuff that I don't know anything about, right? And I can't confirm. Okay.
Right.
The fact that this is what they're putting out, and the fact that I have conflicting stories from world news tells me whatever it is we're hearing, it's just not real, And so I would just prefer not talk about it, only because of the fact that they're, the videos I saw and the pictures I saw were completely different. And I'm just, it gives me pause and concern, right? When, you're sort of getting lied to in this robust way. And, it's, they have the media companies, they have the AI companies, they have all these different companies that literally can feed you propaganda 24/7. You could try to look for the real thing, and you won't find it.
It's absolutely on steroids. And yeah, you're right. You have to go outside the country. Drop Site News has been doing a lot. I don't know if you follow Drop Site News. Definitely, they're an independent outlet. And they've been really on the ground a lot. Another one that just doesn't do any news, but if you want to see the feeds, is Agenda Free TV. So he's live. Oh, that guy is like, I don't know. He's like an Energizer bunny. He's just on all the time, and all he does is just show you the feeds coming in from wherever. And sometimes it might be from Tehran, sometimes it might be from somewhere in Israel or somewhere else. And so you can kind of watch for an hour or two, and he just kind of tells you what he's seeing. And then if there's any news that he gets a hold of, he'll relay, this is what they're saying, but he doesn't confirm. He can't confirm. You can't confirm if it's real or not real. That's the problem.
The Intercept has been doing some really good reporting. The ProPublica has been doing some really good reporting. Every once in a while you get you can get ground news.
That's a good one.
If you know where to look and what reporters to look for, okay, sometimes you can follow an individual international reporter and you can actually get good information from them. Okay. With social media the way it is, you really have to go looking for it, and you have to know where to look. Okay. And another thing that you could do is, believe it or not, is change your VPN.
What do you mean?
If you change your VPN to say a Canadian, to
I didn't think
Canada,
about
or a foreign country, right? All of a sudden, the information that you get fed is much different.
Will that also impact, you mean like even with Facebook and all social media, or just your like if you go out to the internet?
Social media is based on the algorithm.
Yes.
If you're looking for news, right, that would help.
Okay. That's a good idea.
You know,
so
if you're just doing like a Google search for news or whatever, you know,
then you'll get yeah. It's a shame that we are getting bombarded by bullshit to this level. Literally, when I see things, whatever it is, I have to question: is it even real? Is it even happening? Yeah,
you're being gaslit like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, all of us.
Believe. You're being gaslit like you wouldn't believe. And part of it, the gaslighting, right, is to move the market, right? So the idea of the politicians are making bets in the stock market and then going out manipulating the stock market so that they can get a lot of money, and it's called pump and dump. It's a pump and dump scheme.
Yes.
And they've been doing these pump and dump schemes for probably months now.
Yeah, all for money. That's what this is all about. And you know, I will say this, that I guess maybe the fact that he's got some dementia going on, he's kind of admitting things up front, which was, you know, the fact that he's there for the oil, to take the oil and make the money. Like that I believe is a flat out honest statement based on all the corruption we have seen coming out of this White House.
But he's done that his entire career.
No, we know that. I know that, but I'm saying he's literally saying
anything new this isn't anything new, right? In fact, here's the problem. Here's the problem. He would say the nutty shit, right? And then you would have the media, and you would have these political like operatives, right? And the Republican Party say, yeah, he said that, but he didn't mean that. Right? That was the whole shtick. The whole shtick is to sell you, yeah, but he didn't mean that.
He didn't mean that, you didn't understand it.
Right, or you didn't understand it. Right. But now those people aren't behind him saying that anymore because they can't. Because everybody now knows that the crazy shit that goes through his head, he wants to do.
Yeah. Oh boy. And this is where we are today.
So let's check where we are. So we went down a little bit today, I'm going to say, right? I'm going to say we went down a little bit today. So we're at 38 trillion 900 million or 900 billion, right? And you know, now every American owes $114,253.
Yeah, per person.
So
for every person. This is we do this all the time now. Now it does go up and down. I don't think that it's down because we paid anything. I think that might be based on more value. Would that be more based on the dollar value or the treasury value? Or is that? Yeah, or I'm just saying I don't think that it's directly related to us making a payment. I don't think anybody in this administration is paying off debt.
Whatever. It's around the same amount. It's not really changed much, which is, I guess, a good thing. But, you know, we're using the Peterson projection national debt clock. So,
yeah,
they seem to be about the same.
Yeah, I mean, you can get some crazy one. There's one you can go debt clock, and it shows all the debt clocks going at too fast. Yeah, that one's crazy. But that'll give you, like, you'll end up with you'll end up with like an aneurysm if you look at it for too long. It's really crazy. But the Peterson one is the one that matters, and I've been using that for a while.
But what I would like, one of the things I would want to mention though, all right, is that came out this past week that Ken Klepperstein wrote a great article about is the militarization of ICE. ICE is buying, right? Like they're gonna occupy cities. Like they are buying military grade weapons, and they're buying a lot of them, and they're buying chemical weapons, and they're buying like they're going to occupy American cities. That is the only thing that you can do with the all this stuff that they're buying, and as we've seen with this administration, they don't buy something that they're not going to use. And I think that's something that's worth having a discussion about, especially since we live in New York. And we're going to likely be one of those states that gets occupied because he's looking to occupy blue states. That's sort of their next thing.
All of this to keep us from voting. And take control. Well, it is more than that.
Yeah.
But this is, ultimately. There's also something else I want to point out now. I have not had a chance to confirm this, but Marty was telling me when I came home that the Republicans in Congress have drafted a bill that would allow them to arrest anyone who speaks badly about the regime. Basically, to arrest everybody who's a Democrat or a non-Republican or a non-MAGA Republican. At this point, even people are. I mean, he is just hemorrhaging support like crazy. I mean, Alex Jones is against him. Tucker is already gone. Candace Owens, who has a massive platform. Damn, Candace, can you give us some tips? But all of them are just have been really, really going after Trump. And
it's too little too late. I don't want to hear it from them. I really just don't.
Yeah, I agree. Like, where were you?
Right. We all knew this. We all saw this coming. And Megyn Kelly came out today with some bullshit like, oh yeah, as bad as this administration is, that in the next election she would still vote Republican. Right? I mean, that's their mentality. And I'm sorry, this amount of money, right? So that bill, okay, that you talked about, okay, is in support of an FBI institution, right, that was created under Kash Patel, under this administration, right, that tracks and monitors people who speak against this administration. So they are already tracking us. He has admitted, Kash Patel has already admitted that they are surveilling American citizens, that they are getting American citizens' location data. He has confirmed this already. He himself has confirmed this. So this isn't something like it's been reported, it's been, gossiped about, right? He himself has said that they are actively accumulating location data on Americans, and they have a department or a division, right, that they just created where they monitor and they plan on going after Americans who speak bad about this administration. That is their next step, which is why they're militarizing ICE the way they are, which is why that, and this goes to this goes to the DHS funding, right?
Oh, yeah.
What kills me about DHS funding was the fact that Democrats are running around, saying that, claiming victory, right? Doing their victory lap. We won. We didn't fund ICE or CBP. Meanwhile, the Republicans are like, are like, yeah, we're going to fund them in reconciliation without you. Thank you very much for your vote. We're going to fund them in reconciliation. And they knew that in advance. So again, I go to, it's all performative, right? It's all performative. It's this whole idea of, two sides, they're working together, right, to come out with a narrative where it looks like there are two sides and there really isn't two sides, right?
Yeah.
And while they're doing all these things, like, where are congressional investigations hauling Kash Patel saying, do you have this division? I mean, they passed a bill. Congress passed a bill, okay, saying that each senator that had their information taken for an investigation would get $500,000.
Yes.
Right? Or whatever it was, right? $500,000, right? $500,000. And yet they are monitoring all of us. But that's okay, because we're just nobodies, Americans, right? And they're special.
In the words of Larry Ellison, this whole idea of privacy, no, everybody is going to be really good, and they're going to watch their speech and watch what they say, and they're going to obey. That's literally what he said. We're all going to be compliant, or else we're going to get in trouble. Yeah, fuck that. Right? We dealt with that in 1776. We got rid of our king. So, what do you guys think? I'd love to hear some input on. Yeah,
this year's the anniversary. We got rid of one king. Is Congress going to wake up and get rid of another? He even state, like, he was at a presser or whatever, and he was like, "I'm king." They said I'm king, right? Like, he took the No Kings protest as being like he's already been anointed. He's like, "I'm king."
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. So that's where our tax money is going. Our tax money is going to oppress us. That's.
But we are told, right? We can't afford universal health care. We are told we can't afford universal child care. We are told we can't afford to have good infrastructure, good roads, good bridges, or anything like that to drive our cars on, and all that other kind of stuff, that we can't have high-speed rail. We can't have these things, right? That's what we are told. We can't have these things because they are too expensive. They are too radical. They are too left, okay? All right? But we can have all the war we want
on our tax dollars.
So again, look at your local community. You have a municipality that was mismanaged. Okay, granted, all of our faults, right? Because we voted for that crap. But you voted for it. I didn't vote for it. But you voted for that crap. And this is what you get. This is why elections matter. This is why voting for responsible people matter, right? All the petitions were just gotten in for your Democratic and Republican parties, okay, for your local elections, right? This year, right? All those petitions were just handed in. Okay, so if you go to your local board of elections, you can find out who the candidates are running. Okay, if you don't ask each one of them about whatever their job description is, then shame on you. Shame on you. Okay? They should know what the job is they're running for. If they're running for your local town board seat, they should know what a local town board member does.
Yeah.
They should know it's about your road, your water, your sewer, right? If they're running for state legislature, they should know what the state legislature does. You should have an idea of some things that you want passed. If you want universal child care, tell them you want universal child care. There are still places in upstate New York that don't have universal pre-K. Why don't they have universal pre-K?
Yeah.
Okay? Where's the funding? So, like, start asking those questions. These people put themselves out there, right? Don't ridicule them. Don't make fun of them, right? Like, give everybody the opportunity. As me and Denise have said, we are more than willing to have any local candidate running for office on our show.
Yeah.
Democrat or Republican. We don't care. We are happy to have you, right? As you can see, we had the supervisor in the town of Wallkill on. We've had him on twice. We had him on when he was running. He came on now as supervisor. He'll be running again this year. We are happy to have him on. We ask him questions, okay?
And you should send us questions. You probably, because, it's funny. It's after these after that interview, people have questions, and it's like, well, ask.
Send them to us.
Yeah,
we'll ask them. We will ask the questions, and we don't care what the question is, right? We'll give you a mention if you want your name mentioned. We're happy to say, crazy person X10, asked you this, like, we don't care.
You know
right?
What? I just want to say, I did ask him about doing a live. We could we could go live on a Sunday, if you don't mind having, have a brunch with us. We could do a live brunch and have Frank on live and hang out and ask questions. You can interact with him if you can't get to a tea event, because they're going to be bouncing back and forth between a weeknight evening, a Tuesday evening, 1 month, the following month on a weekend in the morning. So if you can't make either one of those, here's an opportunity to pop on with us and interact with him live and put a whole bunch of questions out there. Whoever, whatever you want to know, ask about what's going on in the town. It's so important to interact with your elected leaders and your potential elected leaders, so you know where they stand. Sorry, go ahead.
It's also good to know what the issues are going on in your local community. And, it's an opportunity, right, for you to express issues within your community that you complain about every day.
Yeah.
Right?
That damn pothole. Get rid of the pothole.
Right, inevitably, right? Like, I always tell this story because it was always amusing to me. I would knock on the door, okay? Somebody would answer the door, and the thing that they wanted to talk about was the last thing they saw on TV.
Yes.
Right? So, like, all of a sudden they're asking me about, some social program that they saw on Fox that they can't believe, like, their taxes are funding, or they wanted to talk about some national politician. And I would turn to them and say, I don't care. I said, I'm about your roads, your water, and your sewer. I'm running for local council seat. All that other stuff doesn't matter. Right? And then they would turn to me and say, I have a pothole down the road. And I would get the pothole filled. Like, not for nothing, you can sit and complain about this shit day and night. We in the town of Wallkill, 60, we're 63 square miles, and
it's a lot of potholes.
I think 300 or 400 miles of roadway. Okay, I guarantee you, they don't know about every freaking pothole. If there's a freaking pothole, you got to tell somebody,
Yeah. Oh, am I still there? Okay.
I've seen some municipalities even put on their website, like, I think the town of Chester did it, like a pothole reporter, where you can
that's
go
a good
and
idea.
report a pothole on the website. That would be something that the town should look into putting together.
I think New York City does that too. Of course, that's a very, very busy website. It's a very, very, very busy webpage.
Yeah, especially when they're like, my car is stuck in a pothole, and like you see half the car in the street.
Oh my God!
It's bigger than a pothole. That's more like a crater.
More like a crater. Yeah, no, that's Florida. That happens in Florida. We've seen like the whole road sink.
Sinkholes. Yeah.
Sinkholes.
But it's now's the local election again. You have state elections this year.
And the federal.
Learn the issues, and have a voice. Now's the time to have a voice. Okay? don't just take it that these people, are going to pay lip service to you or tell you no. 80% of New Yorkers or more want a wealth tax.
Yeah.
Hochul is running. It's Hochul against Blankman. Neither one are for a wealth tax.
Because they're both corporate candidates. It's a shame that we didn't get a grassroots run in there.
All I can say is I thought Ma'am Danny said it right. Each one of these people. Now you think, right, that you with your overtime or no tax on tips or whatever, right? Each of these multi-millionaire or billionaires received $100,000, right, tax reduction from the federal government in the big beautiful bill. $100,000, right? And all Mamdani is saying in New York is he wants to take a small fraction of the $100,000 that they got from the federal government. Okay? Right? That's yours and my money. Okay? That the federal government gave back to these people, and we're saying just a little bit more would help most New Yorkers.
Interestingly enough, even Trump said, well, he said broadly the states should raise taxes so he could lower federal taxes. But if the states...
On the rich.
Yeah.
On the rich.
Of
Not
course.
Everybody else, on the rich.
Absolutely.
On the billionaires.
But I think if we took a tip from Washington State, they put a wealth tax. I think it's like 8 or 9% on the top, the very, very top earners in Washington State. If we all did something like that, maybe like a 10% wealth tax from every state, you'd see universal health care. You'd see, how about a living wage? We didn't even bring that up. Let's raise that minimum wage. It's still 7.25. Who the fuck makes 7.25? I didn't even think people pay their babysitters anymore. 7.25.
Well, New York, we're at $15.
Well, right. It took the state to do that. But nationally, it's still less than half of that, and that's just disgraceful. We should have a living wage. We should have, definitely need to have health care. We're the only country. And you've said it before. We're the only country that has massive medical debt because of that.
It's we got sold the bill of goods by these billionaires who own all the media companies, who own all the social media companies. They own everything, right? And they've told us we can't afford to have nice things. We can't afford, and they're not even nice, right? Like the basics. Right, we can't afford to have affordable housing for people. We can't afford to lift people up. We can't afford health care. We can't afford, right? Everything is we can't afford. When it's a Democratic priority or it's a working
class priority.
Democratic, it's a working class priority. Okay, we can't have it. But we have more than enough money for contracts for billionaires, more than enough money to Elon Musk, more than enough money to Ellison, more than enough money to Palantir. We seem to have more than enough money for people who have like 3 yachts and 30 fucking homes and own islands.
And aren't contributing tax-wise at the same level that we are now. Them and their corporations are paying less.
Right. I think Warren Buffett once said that his effective tax rate in the United States was 13%. And I laughed. I said, imagine if Americans, the average American, if their effective tax rate was 13%.
Oh yeah.
Imagine that. Right? Right, because your effective tax rate is probably closer to like 40%.
Yeah. And that was probably before we factored in the tariffs that we're all paying, that are still hanging around, those tariffs.
Oh, those statistics were from a while ago, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Sales
I
tax,
don't even know.
property tax, income tax, state tax, federal tax, right? Tax on certain goods. Gas tax has this special gas tax. If you're a smoker, there's a smoking tax, and there's just so many taxes on everything. But these people have the ability to write most of it off.
They created regressive taxes, right, in order to avoid having to tax the billionaires, right? You have people extracting large amounts of wealth and hoarding it, right? And then using loopholes to avoid paying taxes. Like, I mean, are you kidding me? And there were loopholes that they created, that they paid politicians to write bills to give them those loopholes, right? You and I don't have that access. We will never have that access. Okay? And the biggest fear from billionaires is not that it would be burdensome to pay extra taxes. As I said, the federal government is giving them back $100,000, and New York State is literally asking for a small portion of that $100,000. So nothing is even coming out of their pocket. Okay? What they're most afraid of is us saying no more.
Yeah.
That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of us saying no more.
Yeah. And we're just, I think a lot of people are getting fed up. Are you fed up? Are you mad as hell and you're not going to take it anymore? From the line of a movie that probably nobody here has ever heard of.
When it comes to locally, it's really hard to give up services when you're paying so much in taxes. Bulk, getting back to the bulk pickup, right? Like it's really hard. I've saw that in a real way, in every municipality that I've been a part of, where people are like, you can't cut my services. Like, I rely on these services. And so you have to find a way to do more with less.
Yeah.
And it's really frustrating and it's angersome because, while these guys are making billions and walking around on their yachts and all these other things, you realize like if they just paid a little bit more, okay, it would be so much easier on the rest of us. But they don't. They literally just want us to be enslaved to their jobs, and that's it.
Yeah.
And have nothing for ourselves anymore.
Yeah, that's kind of like the whole Project 2025 plan. It was to drop taxes on corporations and the wealthiest class and raise them on us. And look at what they're doing. Oh, we need $1.5 trillion for military. We need all this for all these wars that you started, by the way. But we don't have money for basic necessities that our tax dollars used to pay for.
Well, what is he talking about? He's talking about another tax cut for billionaires.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And he's talking about, his ballroom. He's talking about, right, like the things that he's talking about are all for him. And they're superficial and so that he can slap his name on it.
Arc de Trump.
I was saying this earlier. You know how fast this war can end? I can tell you exactly how fast this war can end. Okay? And everybody's going to think I'm crazy. Okay? But
go for it.
This is what if Iran just said to Trump, "Listen, we'll allow you to build a Trump resort in Iran and with its own airport or whatever, right?
Heliport or something.
That Americans can come in and out of it as much as they want, and you can get whatever people. It doesn't matter. It'll never be touched by anybody. You can have this property. You can make as much money as you want off of this. Just leave us the hell alone." I guarantee the war ends tomorrow.
Yes, I agree.
They give him a real estate deal. Give him a real estate deal. He'll walk away. He'll say, "America did great. America did great. We have this great deal with them." And it all ends right there.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. Wait, what? Oh, now it's up to 1.7 trillion now, from 1.5 to 1.7. So that's 1.7 trillion now. So it's going up, going up. You know, first
Gotta build this ballroom.
well, fuck that. Call your representatives and tell them fuck no. Fuck, he's got enough money.
I thought there was something else that he wanted to fund too. Can't even remember now. There's so many different things. He's so unhinged.
We're watching. Well, there was I think it came out yesterday or maybe over the weekend. It came out that they found that he diverted $1.25 billion from that whole board of peace into his own personal account.
Oh, come on.
He wouldn't do that.
Come on. Wait a minute. They found that out?
I know. It's like all of the money is in his personal account. Are you kidding me?
I mean, come on. That's like saying the sky is blue and the sun is yellow. Like,
I know. It's about time we're hearing it from the news.
Hey. Captain Obvious strikes again! Yay! We love Captain Obvious.
Oh my God! Oh, I think I might have frozen.
Here's Captain Obvious to save the day.
Oh my God, folks!
Give me a break. Of course he did that. We knew he was gonna do that.
He's been doing that.
Right.
That was the whole point of Venezuela. He's selling the Venezuelan oil and putting the profits in his personal account in Qatar.
But that's the thing. He's not doing that. That's what everybody is saying he's doing, but he's not doing that.
What is he doing?
The oil's sitting out in tankers in the ocean. He hasn't moved them. They haven't moved from where they are.
Oh, that's the reason why I went to Iran. Figured he could go and get their oil.
He took control of them, but that oil belongs to somebody else. Somebody bought that oil. You know, he can't just steal somebody else's oil, right? You know,
he thinks he can.
Venezuela had, once that oil leaves port, okay, it belongs to somebody else. Okay, I understand what people think, but once it's like once it's put in the mail, it's yours. You know,
like the check is in the mail.
Right. It literally is. Venezuela had already been paid. That oil was not theirs anymore once it left port. Okay, it was somebody else's, and the United States just can't take somebody else's oil. He's sitting on it. He's not allowing it to move, but it ain't going anywhere because he don't own it, and nobody will buy it from him. Right, because of the fact that it's owned by somebody else. They're like, you could say what you want about capitalism, okay, but that's capitalism right there for you, right? You cannot, if something is sold on a public market, you cannot take it from
well, then that would be theft. That would be theft.
Correct. Which is why it's still just sitting in the ocean.
Oh my God.
Again, but that goes to the propaganda that's being thrown out here.
Yes.
Right? Again, another propaganda item that's being thrown out here in the United States is that you know, because he's saying that, right? He's coming out and saying those things, you know, it's being reported by US media, those things, but none of that is actually true. It's not actually happening.
There you go. Oh, well, folks, look at this. It's already been an hour. Man, that went fast.
Yeah, I think everybody's leaving us, so time to go.
Yeah. So we're going to head out. We're going to make plans to have Frank on with us. So we'll have him on. Maybe we can squeeze him in on our Sunday recording. Or maybe we'll go live. I don't know. We'll figure that out between now and then. In the meantime, if you have any questions or comments, just leave them below. We'll definitely get to them. And as always, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It goes a long way to helping people find us. And it also helps, it also benefits other podcasters in this space, that we all support each other and build each other up. We're trying to get our voices out there. So your help means a lot to us. And welcome. By the way, we got a whole lot of new followers in the last week or so, especially since the interview dropped. So welcome, and I hope we can bring you more content in the future. So thanks again. People, be safe, and we will see you soon. Love you guys.
Peace out.